Hello and welcome to the Sistering Podcast. I am Audra and this is my mom, Rhonda.
Hello, Merry Christmas. We are saying Merry Christmas because we know that most of you are in the height of your Christmas season, shopping, getting ready for friends and families, and most of you probably won't even get to this episode until Christmas. This episode is looking at pausing during Christmas. Push, pause. And we're going to share you just a little bit more. But before we do that, we just want to touch base. As you know, or you may not know, we're believers. And so this is a poignant season and time in our faith. This is the time that we celebrate that Christ came to the earth to die for us as a babe during Christmas. Is December 25th the exact date? Who knows? Who cares? The truth is, what we do care about is that he left heaven to come down to earth, to be born as a babe, to become human flesh for us. So we focus on that during this season, and so that's why we think that this topic, pushing pause, is so important because the pushing pause that we're talking about is specifically talking about our behavior, our actions, and our reactions during this Christmas season.
Sure.
It's a busy, busy season.
It's
We've already
never
been
ending.
slammed.
Never
You
ending.
know, uh, we've been slammed. I think, well, Audra is officially on
On
Christmas break.
Christmas break. Yeah.
Fun the girls. They had the party yesterday.
Yes.
And
So at the work party, at our work party, my boss was they were doing a raffle and I won a $50 gift card.
woohoo,
And I
yay.
was like, hey, I need to get a picture with you. And so she was like, oh, yes, I guess you should plug this on your podcast. So, Miss Nair, I'm plugging you. Hello.
So we didn't forget her because she talked about our podcast yesterday.
Yes, she mentioned it to the whole staff, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Felt really good.
And they invite the family and friends to come to the party too with the staff, so they make it a full year end event. So all of us were there. Other people's families were there too, and it was really nice, nicely done. And we got to bring. It was kind of a potluck too, so we all brought different things that we like, different foods that we like. But at the end, we were all tired. We had been there for a good couple of hours, and
And it was right after school.
yes, it
So
was a
we had
full day
already
school.
been at school. And because I'm a teacher, we're up way before, school even starts. So we're up at, 5:50, 6 o'clock in the morning. So we had been running since 6 that morning. And the girls, they were exhausted. But I didn't recognize it at first. It was a meltdown.
Well, first of all, we were just so excited that
Oh, yeah.
there was nothing on the agenda. Like we could relax, and there was nothing. So we all took baths. We got settled into the living room. We were about to watch some shows. The girls had gone in their rooms. They had gotten gifts from school that day, and so they wanted to open those gifts. So they were very excited about
Very
that.
excited.
And we were tired, and so we were chilled with our blankets and our legs were up, ready to watch something on the TV. But we didn't factor in their need.
Yeah.
Their need. We did not pause.
Yeah, and process that.
And
It's now 8 o'clock in the evening. Now, my children go to bed very early. I'm very strict on the bedtime routine because I believe children need rest and they function better when they're well rested. So they're usually asleep by 6:30, and it's now 8 o'clock, and all we hear from the room is yelling and screaming, and I was like, oh,
and tears.
no, lots and lots of tears. And we were like, oh no, what is happening? So we check the cameras and they're fussing and fighting. And they come out with tears in their eyes and they're crying and she hurt my feelings and she hurt my feelings and Sissy hurt my feelings. It was the whole thing.
Yeah. And I told Audra I'll deal with it. I did realize that she's exhausted. So I was like, okay, maybe not best to let her deal with it. I'll deal with it. So I called one at a time, allowed them to use their words, and in the midst of it, I'm just there thinking, okay. And then it hit me. They're exhausted.
Yeah, they're tired.
They're exhausted. So I looked at Audra and I'm like, they're exhausted. What do we do? You know?
Yeah. And my little one, was quick. She was like, yeah, I'll go to bed. I'm ready for bed. So she was like, okay, I'll go to sleep, whatever. My oldest one was like, what? Y'all are watching shows without me? I thought that I was going to be out here watching shows with y'all. I thought that I would get some candy or a treat or whatever. And so that was way tougher.
She was looking for the party.
Yeah, she was ready. And so it was so much tougher to get her to sleep. And I remember I'm like trying to be really patient and very calm and very sweet. And then finally I was like, girl, you better go to sleep. Like, we're not negotiating. Like, I'm in charge. You need to go to bed. And it was probably a little rough, especially because of where she was at. But it is this reminder that we're all tired during this season. This season is non-stop between the Christmas programs and the shopping and the gift wrapping and the going to see the lights and going to hear the music and doing all the things. There's so many things that we can do during the season, and it just reminded me like we just need a break, to just rest, because this is part of what we were given this time off for, to rest. And so we need to make sure that we push pause and get this rest, because if we don't do that, we can't be our best selves during this Christmas season.
Yeah, and we're not introspective. We're not really taking stock. One of my favorite shows, one of the shows that I enjoy is House Hunters International. And one of the things I almost always hear people say, those that are moving from the United States, they want to move to Europe, but they want to move someplace else because of the work-life balance. And we talked about what we think the reason for this season is, and here we are again, just doing. You have friends who are doing a bunch of trees and different ornaments and knickknacks and everything, and it's a lot. It's a lot, but and it's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty. It's nice. It's all of it, but it's a lot, and it takes its toll. And I don't think we understand how much of a toll it takes. And so our reactions to people may not be the best. And so one of the things that we've been talking about this week, Audra and my husband, this week, we've been talking about the thermostat and the temperature, right? So there's a room, and in that room, there's a temperature in that room. So we're the room, pretty much. And so, what is my temperature? And who am I going to allow to touch the thermostat? Right? So, for instance, I walk into a store. Let's just say Kohl's. And as I walk into the store, I bump into somebody by accident, but they're rude and their response is really negative, and they're in a rush, the lines are long, and everybody is just crunchy, grabby, and this like, ooh, nasty. And the response to me is not right. Remember, this is hypothetical. What do I do? What do I do? That person, their response to me accidentally bumping into me is, am I going to let them touch my thermostat? Because see, my temperature is good, but this person's reaction to me could now determine something else. What do I do? Yeah. So, in order to keep my temperature well, I have to pause. Yeah. I have to stop. I have to process. Yeah. What am I going to respond? Why am I responding? Yeah. What am I leaving behind? Right? Because we all talk about joy during the season. Am I really leaving joy with somebody when I respond to them in kind? No. So I take a pause and I said, I am truly sorry. How can I help you or whatever?
And I'm not good at this. I'm just gonna keep it real with y'all. This is not not my forte. Okay, I get what I get. You have an attitude, you're gonna get an attitude back. And I'm working on it. But it reminds me of like even just at like Christmas programs, you gotta go save the seats. And I'm at a Christmas program the other day and I'm saving seats for my parents, and it's obvious that I'm saving the seats. And I have my legs in the seat, so it's clear, like, hey, I'm spreading my body to save the seats. And this lady's like, are you saving those? And I was like, well, yeah. And she was like, oh, okay. And had an attitude. And I was like, who's she talking to? Like, my initial response is like, who is she talking to? And why is she having an attitude with me? When it's obvious I'm saving these seats, it's really clear what's happening. So why are you, what are, what are we trying to accomplish? Like, you have seats on that side that are also in the front. So why do you need my seat? And I was irritated. And then when you guys came, I was like, Mommy, you see that lady over there looking at me funny? And she sat there and looked at me funny and had an attitude. I was like, no, it's just her face. And I was like, I don't care. She need to fix her face. It's not my forte. So I get it. Like, this is a tough thing for me because it's like somebody bumps me in the store and they have a nasty attitude. I'm like, you bumped me. Like, who are you talking to?
Just a purview. At a later date, we'll talk about flight or fight people. And she's now telling you she's a fight person. That is a normal.
That's my
reaction.
nature, and I'm working on it. I'm working on the like peace and the patience and the hi, and the gentleness. But that does not come naturally to me. And so this whole idea of pause really is important because, like, especially for people like me, I'm busy. I'm tired. There's like 7 billion things to do, and I don't really want to do any of them. But I have to if I want to make the season great. And so then it's like, well, I don't want a tree. I don't want to do the tree, but I have to do the tree so that my children have the joys of Christmas. But do they need that? Do we really need that? I don't know. So it's tough. It's like this pause thing is like, ooh, I don't want it to sound like we're just telling you like, hey,
Correct.
you guys we got to work on this. No, I need to work on this because it's a struggle. Like, I'm always like on the go, and I'm by the time that the day rolls around, I am exhausted.
Yeah.
And it is this question of what am I giving out to everybody else during this season that my family deserves first. Do you know, like I've told my parents at school, like I'm a teacher, I told them like I don't plan for parties. So if you want your children to have a Christmas party, then you guys have to plan it because if I have to plan it,
I need your help.
then I'm not going to do it because I have to be able to give my best when I get home, and it takes a lot of levels of work to plan and to create and to make these things happen while also teaching. And so my parents have heard that, and they all stepped in, and they all came and they set up, they tore down, they brought all the things, they donated the money, they planned the games, and they came in, facilitated, and just kind of took over and made.
And they enjoyed it.
And they love it. They get to be able to be a part of something that they typically wouldn't get to be a part of. And that's my way of pushing pause because I realize there's only so much energy that I have. There's only so much that I have to give. And when my tank is empty, I'm a terrible human being. Like, I'm just not nice. And I'm not gracious and I'm not kind and I do not exhibit the fruits of the spirit in the way that I need to. And so for me to be able to be my best representative of Christ, I have to make sure that things that can be delegated, can be given, or that we don't have to do at all are done because I can't do it.
I think the other thing too is giving grace or making space for someone else. Because today, I woke up with a raging headache, and the first thing I heard when I got up was my youngest granddaughter screaming, and I'm like, "Oh God, here we go! I'm going to have a headache," and I did. And honestly, I have a little sinus infection, so I did wake up with a sinus and headache, but those are the worst for me. I suffer with really, really bad headaches. And we had already had plans of things, checklists that we had to do, errands that we have to run this morning.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, this, I have to do this, I have to do the next thing.
plans.
Right. So Audrey comes in and we make the plan. Okay, fine. I said I'm gonna have to take it slowly because I have a slight headache. And so we're out, about, and she's trying to talk, and I'm like, I cannot take another word. I just can't.
Because I gotta process. I'm an out loud
Yes.
processor. I think I figure things out better when I'm talking outwardly because in my brain it's like spaghetti and it's all mixed up and I'm like, bro, I don't know what to do. I need to just talk it out so I know what I'm doing. And usually I'll go to her and like process it out loud and she'll usually just like, oh,
Yeah. But
and then I
didn't have
figure
it.
it out by myself. I
Yeah.
just have to talk it and she's like, you can't talk.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I can't
I
hear it because I know we were recording today, and I had an appointment with a client at 11 o'clock, and so the pain just was not receding at all. And it's 10:30, and I'm like, we're still out. I have to get back to the house to get into the office to set up for this meeting. So I texted my client and I said, I'm running behind, and they said, okay, cool. They're running behind too, which was nice. But I'm still at a full blown headache, and I'm like, I don't even know how to make it. So I just started to pray, and then by the time I got into the meeting, I was good. I was able to do the meeting well. But as soon as the meeting ended, I was down again, and I knew I needed to get something to eat, and I needed to put my legs up for a few, maybe an hour or so. So something else came up that was kind of pressing, and Audrey came, and I'm like, if we're going to record today, I can't do that. I just cannot do that. You will have to handle that today. And um, she was going to make the call right where I was. I said, no, ma'am, you have to go elsewhere to do that. Like, this is not the spot. And she looked at me and she left. She left the room and she gave me the quiet zone that I needed so that we would be able to do what we need to do. So giving grace to somebody, but it requires, I think, us to pause and stop,
For sure.
right? Because if we're just rushing along and rushing ahead, we don't get to stop and think, okay, I need to do this, or I need to do the next thing.
Yeah, well, and I think like for me, usually like I would say that in moments like that, it would I would take that more personal and be like, you don't want me around? Like, fine, I'll leave. I'm not that annoying. Whatever.
Remember the extroverted people I told you about earlier?
Um,
Yeah.
but I could tell, I could see that you weren't feeling well. I knew that you weren't feeling well this morning. And so it was a matter of, I know that we want to accomplish certain things. How do I help her accomplish the ultimate goal of what we need to accomplish today? And I didn't, it was just kind of like, okay, cool, she's not 100. And then I thought, I also did think, I was like, what would I want right now?
Hey, that's good.
I did think that. I was like, when I made the tea for you or whatever, I was like, what would I want her to do for me? I would want her to ask me if I needed anything because I'm up and I'm moving and I'm 100. So what can I then give to your 20? What can I give to you that maybe you don't have to give right now? Just like how last night when the girls were carrying on, I didn't have it. And so you stepped in and you had it, and it was very helpful. And so even in that, you were giving grace for me. So how do I then reciprocate that grace for you? And I think it is a lot of processing the other person's perspective, where they're at, what they're feeling, what they're doing, like what's going on in their situation right now that you can offer that, especially since, we're going to be out and about more than normal, like this Christmas season, like people are going to be out and doing things.
Yes.
And so,
Crowds.
do we know what this person is dealing with? You do not know what that person has dealt with today. So, they might have given you a snappy attitude because maybe they lost somebody and this is their first Christmas without them. And they don't know how to process that. Or maybe, they thought family was going to come to town and they're not able to do that anymore, or their job didn't give them the time off to be with their family, so they have to work.
Yeah.
And they don't get to go out and do the Christmas shopping for their family the way that we can because they're working.
Yeah. And it comes right back. I always tell people that the Bible is a manual for life. And, you'll see the memes and different things that says, consider that the other person may be going through something too. But that's a biblical application, and it's the commandment that Jesus tells us was the greatest commandment: love God and love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
She talked about making space. Me making space for her last night. She making space for me today, right? And how do we make space for other people? I know we have family that we're going to be meeting with. And all of us meet with our family members, I think, at this time um, of the year, and
Yeah.
people we haven't seen for a long time, or just the fact that we're going to be together more than we're usually together.
Yeah.
I have friends who
You want to hang
picking up
out all night
right.
and play games.
I have friends who are picking up their daughters or their sons, their family from the airport. Yesterday in Publix, the mom, her son, and daughter-in-law were in, and they had flown in for the holidays, and they were talking. So a lot of family time that you don't necessarily get. So people are in different venues, around different people. The personalities are going to clash.
Well, and this season, like, sicknesses are going around. So people got the flu, people have a headache, like they're not feeling 100 physically in their bodies, and because they're moving and constantly going, their bodies don't have the time to even rest to heal, but then they're still going.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's a lot of even physical issues happening too. This is a season where everyone's like, hey, at school, all the teachers are like, "You taking your medicine?" Because we're all taking our medicine so that we could avoid the sickness that's going around.
And I think that's the one thing COVID really pushed in our brains, right? Illnesses and really making us think about health and wellness. Colds and stuff. Yeah, they're prevalent during this time.
Yeah.
Are you conscious of other people if you're sick? Are you staying home? Are you washing your hands and taking care of yourself? Those types of things. So the pause looks different for all of us. Loving your neighbor as yourself again looks different for all of us. Maybe somebody who needs a meal, or they don't have family members. Um, it seems like I've been talking about death a lot in the last 6 8 months, but we just knew of a friend who was buried last weekend, and then we got an email about another friend who just passed away, and it's a lot. So now here is a mother passed away, and her daughters and her granddaughters and son-in-laws, they're not going to be with her this Christmas, like right here, close to Christmas. I think the pause also reminds us that you're not guaranteed tomorrow. That's the one thing I told my granddaughters last night. I said, okay, apologize to one another. And they did. They apologized to each other. And they were like, we loved you. And I reminded them, hey, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. Like, there is no guarantee. So, what are you going to leave? What are you leaving behind for somebody else to have to pick up and hold and carry? Think about those things, but it requires us to pause to think. One of the things in training the girls, you had we had Audrey did a sign, remember, as with the fire, right? With the fire, they tell you to stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, that's cool. How could we take that and spin it? And so it was.
It was stop and then, well, what I found was stop, think, and then talk. But I added pray. So it says stop, think, and pray, and then talk. Because we're so quick to, and I think even that came back to the disagreement they had last night. It was very much oh, I'm upset. You hurt my feelings. And if they had stopped and just listened, they would have seen that they were kind of on the same page still, but their feelings were hurt, so they were just, ah! And I think a lot of time in relationships, that's what happens, like even like people that are estranged from their families, like if they had just stopped and thought before they spoke and prayed before they spoke to each other, there would have been a different word. There would have been a different thing that would have happened. The true nature of what they were feeling would come out, not hurtful words. And I think a lot of times, like especially in this season, like we really have to stop and think and pray before we speak, before we do things, before we engage in stuff. Like really consider, like, is this what the ultimate goal is? Is this pouring into the ultimate goal of what it is that we want to accomplish? You know, like there are lots of things that we could be doing this Christmas season as Christians,
Yes.
as believers. You know, my goal is that I'm teaching my girls what the Bible says.
Yes.
So in this season, like, okay, for example, I have a sorry. So my youngest, she got like they had like a gift exchange at school,
Yes.
and you know, LOL dolls are very popular, but we don't do them. Like we don't engage with the certain toys, you know, and that's just one of the toys on the list, for various reasons. But I just don't like that. We're big on modesty with our girls, and the outfits aren't modest, so we are not. We don't allow that, you know. And so I told them, they've known this for years. And so when she got the toy, she was so excited, and she came in the car. She was like, "Mommy, I got a LOL doll!" Like super excited. And Myra went, "Uh oh," because Myra knows very clearly why. We've had that conversation because she's a little bit older, and she said, "Macy, like, you won't be able to use that doll." And Macy's like, "What?"
Because Myra's experienced this discussion
Yes, she
before.
has. And so Macy was devastated. And we're talking through it, and she's like, "Mommy, what's wrong with it? Like, what's going on?" And we had to pause, and we had to evaluate: is this pouring into our ultimate goal? What is our ultimate goal as believers? My job as a mother is to teach my girls the Bible,
Yes.
and to teach them the best that I know. So whatever my best is, whatever my highest knowledge is, I have to give that. I was made aware about these dolls, and so because I know better, I have to do better, and I have to create a boundary in our home to protect them
Yes.
and not allow certain things into my home. You know,
Right.
the Bible says that weak women allow things into their home, and so
That destroys their
it's
homes.
not happening.
Yes.
You know, and so we had the conversation, we processed it, and I said, "Hey, baby, like this is just not happening." And she finally got to the point where she was like, "Okay, yeah, you're right. I understand." And so what did I have to do? I just turn around, go to the store, and replace the toy. You know, was that part of the plan? No. Was I exhausted? Yes. But I said, you know what, Macy, let mommy pray about it. And when I prayed, it was like, the Lord was like, "You already know about cute small toys that are really inexpensive. Just go pick one up and replace it." And I was like, because she's not excited necessarily about the specific of the toy.
Correct.
She's excited that she got a toy. And so I was like, "Okay, Lord," like, but I paused.
Yes.
I took a moment to really take that second, and I prayed, and I said, "Lord, what do I do?" Because it would just be easier to give in, you know, because the outfit wasn't that terrible, you know, but it was,
Yeah.
you know, it's not helpful in what I'm trying to push, you know, and what I'm trying to pour into them. It wasn't it wasn't the ultimate goal of what we're trying to accomplish. And so while it wasn't that terrible, I know what that company does, you know, and so I couldn't engage at certain levels, you know. In this season, there are gonna be those
Yes.
toys, you know.
Yes.
"Mommy, I really want this for Christmas. Mommy, I really want that." Well, yeah, but does it honor God? Like, yeah, I get it. Everybody's watching that movie, but does that honor God?
And in the Western culture that we live in, we're so consumer driven.
Yeah.
And the stores, they're really pushing the capitalism mindset, right? Advertisements in
Yeah.
left, right, and center. You get hit with them it all the time, all day long. Like, this is a need, this is a necessity. If you're not it, you're not this. And so it comes back again to the reason for the season and
Yeah.
who do we really cherish in this life. For us, it's about how do we bring Christ into our life?
Right.
How do we live out that particular example in our lives? Roger talked about you would say that, oh, the outfit wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And I love this particular analogy, right? So the little girl comes home and she says, "Oh, mommy, I really want to watch this show." Well, she's a teenager. I really want to watch this show this evening. And mom was like, I don't know. It doesn't, it only has a couple of bad words in it. And the mom says, okay, let me process it. So the mom goes in the kitchen. She says, I'm going to go and make some brownies. And she makes brownies. And she's like, how do I get this across to her? And so she decided, maybe I'll do some poop in the brownie.
Not really,
Right. She
but
didn't do that.
pretend.
The thought was she would do it. So anyway, she goes back up front and she says, hey, brownies. And they're like, oh yeah, we're so excited. Oh, before you eat it, I just need to tell you something. And they're like, what, mom? We really want to eat the brownies. And she's like, I put just a little bit of poop in it. Oh my God. How could you put poop in the brownies? You destroyed
Well,
the
it's
whole
just a
thing.
little bit.
But it's just a little bit. It doesn't matter if it's just a little bit. And then she was able to open the conversation about the movie.
Yeah.
A little poison kills the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
so we forget that.
Yeah.
We forget that.
Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out. And
That's
so
right.
little bit becomes bigger and bigger and
Yeah.
becomes a snowball. And so we have to be really, really careful.
I think also like that reminded me like, you because different families do different things and
Yes.
are okay with different things.
Yeah.
And it reminded me like you're going to be in close proximity with a lot of people, a lot of family members that maybe don't agree with the way that you live and the way that you hold the standard for your children. And so even during this season, if we are not engaged and processing, there are lots of doors that can be opened up for our children that are not godly, that are not good if we're not watching. There has to be a level of safety. There has to be a level of like, oh, thank you, we appreciate that, and let's reel it back in. There has to be protection.
Yes.
We have to push pause and really consider before we say yes to things. Yes. Oh, can you guys? Yeah, you want to all go in the room and close the door and play?
No.
Let me consider that. Oh, can we have a sleepover for Christmas? Let me consider that. There while this season is about joy and happiness and whatever, and it is the purpose is to celebrate Christ. That will mean that the enemy is going to be at work, yes. Right? Because if the goal is celebrating the creator of the world, well, he doesn't want you talking about Jesus. He doesn't want you worshiping the Lord. He doesn't want Christmas to be about God. Like, that's not what he's trying to get us distracted. Yes. That's the goal. The goal of the enemy is to say, hey, buy all the gifts. Wake up really early and do what? Gifts. Yes. The elf on the shelf. Not a bad thing. But let's really put all of our time and effort into this instead of what does Jesus want for us? What does Jesus have for us? What does Jesus want to speak to us about this season? That's really what the heart of the season is. And if we can't push pause and really evaluate what is the true meaning, what is the goal, what is it that we are actually trying to accomplish? What is it as sisters in Christ? What are we trying to pour into our children?
If not just our children,
our families,
whoever we're going to be coming in contact with, because we're coming into contact with lots of different people. I mean, just this past week, I would say that I met 10 new people that I did not know before. Yeah. And we were in close proximity to one another for a certain amount of time. And so, again, what did I leave with those people? Right. At the end of the event yesterday, one of the ladies, she'd started to tidy up. She was cleaning up, but these were beautiful. The setting was beautiful. We had long farm type tables with white tablecloths, with beautiful Christmas scenery, and 3 vases per a 6 setting. And so there was a lot of cleaning to do. Well, we didn't sign up for the cleaning committee, but I saw this one person, and she's a friend of mine. She was doing it, and I was like, we're all sitting here. It's like 100 plus of us sitting here, and she's the only person I see. So I said, you know what? Let me get up and start to help. Right?
Yeah.
What are you leaving with people? Right?
Yeah.
Are you just a taker, or are you willing to give also? Because again, most of the food was provided. So you're here to receive because, again, we're tired. Because
Exhausting.
we're tired, we take it as an excuse to do nothing,
Yeah.
or to just receive. But the mandate from Christ is not that we receive, but that we are giving, you know. And so I got up, and it was fun. It was good. And some of those ladies, that's where I met them, right? Doing that. So my oldest grand, she every time I'm serving anywhere, she's like, "Oh, can I serve with you? Can I serve with you?"
Yeah,
And she does, she does. And so she got up and she started to do things,
Yeah.
and it felt good. Was I tired? I was tired. But you know what? I have just had a great meal.
Yeah.
And there were lots of people there who had done so much. And so it didn't take anything for me to say, let me help out for those few minutes at that time.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so again, what are we leaving with people? So we need to pause, to stop, to see, hey, how can I leave this situation, this interaction better?
Yeah.
That's a goal, for ourselves,
Yeah.
for others,
Yeah.
and for the next generation as we move forward.
Yeah.
I love Christmas. I love the
Christmas.
songs. I love I love it when it's cold, when we're in a cold environment. I've loved it, when we're in the heat. It doesn't matter. The Christmas music just sets the mood and tone for
Yeah.
everything, you know. But true joy, I believe, comes from stopping and thinking about somebody else instead of just ourselves, And so,
Giving back, giving to others.
yeah, and that's a crust
sure.
of our of this podcast is supporting somebody who is weaker, or just supporting somebody, period.
Yeah. Giving freely to the people around you to be able to benefit the kingdom, right? That's the whole reason that we are put on earth is to glorify God and to make his name known. That's what I talk about with my sisters at school. Like the purpose that we hold on earth is to glorify God and to make his kingdom known. And so through this season, are we doing that? And it will require a pause and a reevaluation of our schedules to make sure that that is there and that is present. It is important that we do that, especially as believers. It's so important. That's where we get our fuel from, and in order to make it through the season, we need fuel. And we need biblical, godly fuel. Because if not, we're going to run out of steam and get in arguments, and it's going to not be the greatest.
Traffic. Traffic is one of the worst things at Christmas.
Terrible.
I remember growing up in the Bahamas. It's a small island, so everybody's out shopping. Everybody's in the malls. We're very, very big on gifting and gift wrapping in the Bahamas. So gifts have to be wrapped a specific way.
To perfection. I didn't get that gene. My gifts are wrapped at a level 7, and I don't care because they're gonna get ripped and thrown in the trash anyway.
I've gotten there, but it still has to be looking good. It has to be all right,
The backside of it don't matter, right?
But we were very big on the ribbons, everything.
We don't do ribbons and bows no
I
more
know,
because that's a waste of money for me. I am pragmatic.
That's
Is that the right word?
Yes, look at you. I remember she tried to get me to define a word I used last year. Last time, I'm like, oh my God, this girl. But even that, right? The thing to be spent money on, right? It takes a lot of time to earn money. And then we run through it over things that are frivolous. For me, I am not a big gift receiver. So
No.
it's so people go
It's
out.
hard to give her gifts, bro.
I
She just, what do you want? I don't know.
I, I'm,
Family time.
yeah, I'm not a big person. That's
I
not my
have a
love.
list.
That's not my love language. Not that I don't need things. So maybe we get those things. And so there have been times where people have bought me things. And I said, oh. And the problem is people want me. They want fake joy.
Yeah.
And I'm a realist, and I want people to be real to really get to know me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't like this. I would prefer if you had given me the gift card or whatever,
Yeah.
and then at some point I would get what I need. But people want me to be dishonest to make them feel good. And I'm like, but that's not a real
Yeah.
relationship. Like,
Yeah.
I want real relationships with people. So even in gift giving, my husband, he's upset with me for that. He said, I just want to surprise you. And I'm like,
It's hard to
but
surprise
I'm
her.
not going to like it.
No.
So I don't know if
No.
I'm going to be surprised or you're
Every
going to be.
single time I have bought this woman something. And I'm like, this is gonna be the greatest present ever, and I've done it this time. Maybe 2 days. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Oh, actually, we don't need this. Can we return this? What kind of terror? How dare you? Wow. Now I just am like, you just need to tell me what you want, or you're not getting it. Like I'm just not even gonna. I'm not even gonna try. Like I'm just not even gonna try anymore because I don't know what you want, and I don't know. It's fine.
And the gift for me is that my family together.
Oh yeah.
They're
I'm
happy.
starting to get that now
You
because I'm
know.
like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like let's have fun.
Yeah. You know what? I love to buy gifts to my granddaughter.
Oh, so
That.
fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
I love because I even my husband and her, I love to buy them gifts because they love gifts. But I know them really well. And so I know what they want. And I know what they want that they don't even know they want.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so
For
I buy
sure.
them what they want that they didn't even know they wanted.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, I never even thought about
Well,
it.
and I get excited about the smallest things. Like one of my students like got me um this big gift, giant gift, and they put cinnamon sugar pretzels from like the Doc's pretzels. And when I opened it, I literally was like, oh, like I was so excited, like it was $1 million. And he was like, I was like, this is so amazing because I have a list outside my door for like parents, so if they want to get me something, they kind of know what I like, and so their money isn't going to waste. And so he goes, gee, like I saw you eating those, and I remembered that, and I bought that because I knew that you ate those. I love those moments the best.
Yeah.
You know, like I had a student last year. I was like, oh, like I just was in passing, randomly talking to somebody, and I was like, I need some new black jeans. He bought me an Old Navy gift card so I could get my jeans. You know, like it was stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's really what it is. It's the thought behind the gifts, and the relationship behind the gifts, the love and the affection for the person
But
behind it.
that also requires pause too, right?
It does. You have to process
Because
and
the pausing
really
is to stop it.
consider it. Yeah.
It's stopping and stop thinking, stop doing,
Yeah.
and
So that
just
you can,
being
yeah.
present.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this year I was successful in your gift.
Yeah.
That you were a part of.
Oh
The
yes,
pot.
yes.
So she wanted pots that had like the detachable
Yeah,
handles, and then you
yes,
click it on.
yes.
Has she used them?
I'm still old school. I'm still
Has
old
she
school.
used them?
I'm still old school. You save things, for the moments and this and that. And so there hasn't been
7 weeks later.
Actually, I did use one.
I used the small one.
Yeah, I used one the
I
other day.
used
You weren't home. So I did use it. You just weren't here
Oh,
to know.
cool.
But so yeah, so I'm learning that also using the things that I have before I don't have an opportunity to use them again too. So I'm learning that. But this Christmas season, I want us to stop, pause, take a pause. Am I just being a taker, or am I really being a giver? And giving in time, patience, love, gifts, whatever it is, because that's what Christ would have us do, right? There's a saying, "What would Jesus do?" And
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago, I told my ladies Bible study, I said, "Could we stop with the 'What would Jesus do?'" can we talk about what he is doing?
Right.
He's still interceding for us. He's still praying for us. He's still loving us.
Right.
And so let's be doing the things that we say as believers that we should be doing, emulating him continually and always.
Right.
So as we end, I want to say Merry Christmas to you
Merry
all.
Christmas.
You know, and do remember the season, the reason for the season.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful season. Enjoy your time with your family and your friends.
Yeah.
And
Tomorrow's not promised.
tomorrow's not promised.
So enjoy it. Get rest. Be peaceful. Like enjoy the holidays. You know what it truly means. You know.
And give our
Yeah.
podcast as a gift to somebody. It's free.
Yeah.
So just share it with somebody.
Share
We
it
would
with
love that.
somebody. Yeah. Yeah, because we have a lot of fun things coming up
Yeah.
in the coming weeks.
Yeah. And thanks for watching.
Yes, we appreciate you. It is a gift to be able to share with you all and to be able to be open and vulnerable with you guys and to receive the feedback that we have received. It has been so encouraging and so like for me, I didn't expect it. Like I expected it to like we post these videos and nobody says anything and everyone's like, okay. But it's been really encouraging. You know, people are like, hey, this is exactly what I've needed. This is what the Lord's been talking to me about. And then you guys came in and confirmed it. And it was just really cool to be able to experience that, to be a part of what God's
And
doing.
men and women.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. To be a part of it. It's super encouraging. And we love you guys.
Yes.
Please reach out. Let us know anything that you want us to talk about. We're happy to put it on the schedule. But yeah, we are going to head out. Merry Christmas. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, share, follow, all of that. So yeah, we'll talk to you next time.
Okay, love you.
I'm Audra.
And I'm Rhonda. Merry Christmas.